my mind, the pain, the passion, it's insane. In my mind, the pain, the passion, it's insane.
The penultimate round of the 2005 Superside FIM Sidecar World Championship comes to Northern Holland and the exciting circuit of Assen. Well, the Assen track is always a welcome addition to the calendar for the riders. But after 6 rounds, Tim and Tristan Reeves had wrapped up the World Championship. They're out of reach of their nearest contenders. Steinhausen and Hopkinson not competing this weekend. Taro Mannanen and Pekka Koisman and the Finns in 3rd position. Well, there were lots of good things here at Assen, and one of those was Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead making a welcome return after their absence. The circuit here at Assen, 3.7 miles around. Some slight changes mean that there's a new lap record to be established this weekend. Well, we're going to go for an onboard lap around this great circuit Van Drent, and we've compiled Bill Philp, Richard Gatt and Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead to take us around. The start and finish straight leads into a fast right-left hand kink before the approach to turn 1, a tricky 90-degree right-hander. And this road used to be public road, so still some crowns in the road, making traction quite difficult. The bike gets pulled into the apex of these tight corners. Second real corner, another tight right-hander before some right-left kinks. You just drag the sidecar wheel over the edge of the curbs. Another tight right-hander bringing us back around the loop of the first part of the circuit. Paul Woodhead hanging out over that back wheel of the Castrol Honda, trying to get as much traction through that back wheel with 200 horsepower. And now into the long looping left that brings the competitors out onto the fast back straight. Well, it's not actually a straight, it's just a series of wiggles, but this is flat out at about 155 miles an hour before you reach the new chicane that's been added to slow the machines down. Quick right-left flick here. And then rejoining the old part of the track into this tricky right-hander. Then there's a slight left kink that you just straight line across the grass. Another slight right kink and then into another tricky left-hander, off camber on the exit, rises up over the edge, very easy to run off the curbs and onto the grass. Then a double looping right-hand corner, very important to get out of this second part very quickly because this denotes your speed along the back part of the circuit. Now a flat out kink taken at about 130 miles an hour before accelerating up 140, 150 miles an hour, getting dragged into the curbs due to the camber, braking for this long left-hander that brings the riders back to the final chicane. A tight right-left-right combination before fast acceleration back across the start and finish line to complete another lap. Well, qualifying took place in glorious conditions here in the north of Holland. The teams keeping a ready eye on what was happening. Bill Philp and Rick Long were on pole position at one stage, but then they spun the outfit and ended up upside down, dropping them down the order. Another person in trouble was Paul Woodhead. On his return to competition, he'd already been out of the sidecar, and that left Webbo and Woody down in 4th position on the grid. Steve Webster there talking to the legendary engine builder Stuart Johnson. But it was Tim and Tristan Reeves that qualified on pole position with their Team Roberts LCR Suzuki GSXR. and they were ahead of French newcomer Sébastien Delanoy. Well, Delanoy had been in the World Championship in 2001, but he was making his return after competing in the French series for the last couple of seasons. Local favourite Martin van Gils didn't have a good qualifying and found himself down in 13th position, while another welcome return was the American Dawna Holloway passenger for Roger Lovelock. They would qualify in 17th. Scotsman Stuart Muldoon and passenger Paul Napton were going well on the SMR Racing LCR Suzuki as the Team Castrol crew looked on. Number 29 Ben and Tom Birchall, they've been going great guns in the British Series this year. And number 21 Brian Gray and Steve Pointer making their final ever sidecar appearance. Well, I called up with Ben Birchall. Ben Birchall, first ever World Championship race. It's been a bit of a difficult qualifying for you.
Yeah, definitely. Just when you wanted it to all go smoothly, we had trouble, but that's all part and parcel of it. We had clutch slip in the first qualifying, so we just did what we could. And then a blocked fuel pump in the second. We only got 4 laps in, so our time from the first qualifying with a slipping clutch is what we've qualified on. So yeah, hopefully we'll pick our way through a bit today, but we feel we've got plenty left. We'll just have to wait and see.
And what's the feeling about starting your first World Championship race?
Nerve-wracking. I'm trying to think. There's no pressure because it's, you know, I've no points to gain or anything like that, but it's just the venue as well and the amount of bikes that's here and the speed that everybody's going. It's, yeah, nervous.
Well, one man who shouldn't have been nervous was Stuart Muldoon. Stuart Muldoon, third fastest in that qualifying session, front row start.
Yeah, it's a track I like, a track I know very well, been coming here a long time, and everything just kind of clicked into position yesterday. Made a small mistake on that lap, cost me about a second, but it's my first ever front row start World Cup or World Championship, so I'm very happy with that.
Is there more time to come, do you think?
Always go quicker in the race, Ian, you should know that.
Well, after the hectic action in pit lane, I took a wander round the paddock with my microphone to speak to some of the others. Roger Lovelock, Dawna Holloway, wildcarding here at Assen. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad at all, really. It's the first time out this year, at this level anyway. Dawna's flown over from America for her first race as well this year. Yeah, things coming together. We had a bit of a mishap with the engine yesterday. We've gone back to the stock motor, so we'll just have to see how that goes, really. But qualifying times weren't that bad. I mean, considering, you know, we're a few seconds down on the leaders, but there's quite a big gap between us and the leaders, and you know, on the position on the grid. But we're quite happy generally, yeah.
Dawna, when did you fly in from the States?
I got here on Wednesday and I had about a day to recover, and yeah, it's been nice to be back.
Doesn't that put extra pressure on you though, with the jet lag and things, and then having to get on a 160 mile an hour sidecar?
No, usually I sleep a lot the first day and try to sleep on the plane, and I'm pretty good by the time we get ready to race. So.
And how's the scene in America at the moment?
Oh, it's getting a little spicy. We have Superside over there now. We had a really, I think, the fullest grid we've ever had at Laguna Seca, and it's been great. It's sort of growing. Lots of new teams, lots of old teams, new equipment. It's nice.
Well, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead won the 2 opening races of the 2005 season, but that was the last time they were on the score sheets or even on the circuit. Steve Webster, Paul Woodhead, it's nice to see you back in competition here at Assen. How's it going so far?
It's pretty good. We've been out of it for a couple of months, so it's knocking the spots off it a bit again. We've tried to get the level back that we need to, you know, get a few laps in, constant laps. We were struggling a little bit in practice to do that, one thing and another, but hopefully for the race we'll be all right.
And Paul, you had a bit of an incident in the first qualifying session. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, I mean, like Steve says, you know, we're both a bit rusty, and whether it's a little bit of bike setup or whatever, but so the first time we tried to go fast in qualifying, Steve braked at the end of the start and finish straight, and the bike became uneasy under the braking and spat me over the side basically. So I've got a few battle scars to show, and a little bit of pain, but you know, when the lights turn to green, and we'll be all right.
Also, you've made an announcement over the weekend, the pair of you, that this is going to be your final World Championship race. What's the story behind it now, Steve?
Just basically, you know, the time's right now. I feel it's right for me to retire. I think I'm cured. But it's just, you know, you can't do it forever. 45 years old, so it's about time I called it a day.
Will you stay involved with the sport?
Part of my life, isn't it? So I ain't going to run away from it for sure.
And Paul, you're hanging up the helmet as well with Steve's retirement.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a passenger now for 20 years and been with Steve for the last 6. So yeah, I've had my time. I can enjoy the sport for what it was, and yeah, it's time to call it a day and concentrate on life, I think.
Steve, if there's one highlight throughout your long and successful career, what do you think it would be?
Probably, the thing I remember most probably is going in the ditch here, and that'll always stick with me. And I think it's something that, it's a big lesson in learning what not to do, really, when to shut off and when not to try and go faster, and that's what happened. And I suppose that's what put us on the road to successes we've had.
And Paul, highlight for you?
I think riding with Steve, really, over the last 6 years, it's been fantastic. Started with him in 2000 and won the championship first time round. First world championship probably.
It's end of a racing career, really, but it's been down to people. Company with Castrol, the last backers have been backing us for the last few years. A major backer, major sponsors. We've got Fernox. There's lots of people. David Crimp, special guy who's been probably the longest sponsor. He's been with me for probably about 14, 15 years, and it's just down to a lot of people like that made it possible for us to go racing and for us to enjoy ourselves. And it's a big thanks to those people, because they've all been part of our career, and hopefully they've enjoyed it as much as we have.
Okay, Steve and Paul, it's been a pleasure watching you racing together over the last 6 years, and we wish you all success in whatever comes after.
Thanks, Ian. Cheers, thanks a lot.
Well, welcome back to Assen. We caught up with Paul Woodhead to ask him exactly what a passenger's job involves.
A lot of people think sidecar racing as a passenger is part of going over the back wheel for right-handers and keeping the sidecar wheel on the ground for left-handers. But actually it's a lot more technical than that. I'll explain. During right-hand corners, like a solo motorbike, leans, depending on the degree of the corner, it depends on how much the solo bike leans. For a sidecar passenger, that really dictates how far the sidecar passenger gets his weight over the back wheel. So for a slight right hand kink, the sidecar passenger will just put a little bit of weight on the back wheel, like so. The tighter the corner, like a solo, you lean the bike over more. The sidecar passenger has to get further and further and further until sort of maximum right hand will be like this. But it doesn't actually finish there. At the same time, you have to look down the side of the bike and watch what the front of the bike's actually doing. And if the front is starting to understeer, you have to get further forward like this and try and get as much weight forward as you possibly can to try and help get weight on the front wheel to stop it understeering. And then the same, if the back wheel oversteers or the back wheel starts to wheel spin, you need to get further back like that to try and get as much weight on the back wheel as possible. So while the driver and the bike's travelling at speed, you're sort of doing all of this to try and keep the bike stable. So it's quite technical over the right hand side of the bike, and just the same when you come up to a left hand corner when you move left. It's not just a case of keeping the sidecar wheel on the floor. Like going around right hand corners, it's about balancing the bike properly. So you get the sidecar wheel just off the floor, and then you move slightly this way and that way to control that so it stays the same. If you get it wrong and you put too much weight out here, it takes too much weight off the back wheel, therefore the bike will tend to slide this way. And obviously if you get too much weight over here, the chair wheel will be too far in the air, so the driver will have to close the throttle. Also, in a straight line, when the bike's going in the straight forward position, you like this and you keep out the wind. And also, and when the driver hits the brakes, you have to stay here in this position as long as possible. If you get off this position too early, it takes the weight off the wheel and because under braking all the weight of the bike is transferred onto the front wheel, so all this weight will become light. So if you actually get off it like that, it will lock the wheel up, and at that time, if he turns into a corner at that time when the wheel's locked up, the bike will spin. So being a sidecar passenger isn't just about going right and left, it's a lot more technical than that.
So now you know exactly what they do. Okay, riders coming down onto the grid right about now. Number 77 on pole. That, of course, is Tim and Tristan Reeves, the newly crowned world champions. And alongside them, let's have a look, see who's there. Steve Webster, well, there's 91. Well, that's Sebastian Delanoy. And Ian's down on the grid, catching up with the former world champion, Klaus Klaffenbach. See what he's got to say.
Klaus Klaffenbach, nice to see you on the grid of a sidecar race. Shame you're not in the race yourself. How's things going with the Superbike team?
Yes, you know, it's some up and down, so sometimes good, sometimes bad. Today, Neukirchner did a very good job. Frankie was a little bit in problems. He don't find the whole weekend the right setting, but generally I think we're, for the first year in Superbike, it's okay.
66 third on the grid, the Scot Stuart Muldoon, ready to go racing. Ian's off across the grid to catch up with a certain Frenchman.
Sebastian Delanoy, second position on the grid. I know you can't speak English, but your lovely wife can, so how can Seb do for the race?
Maybe a little bit difficult than the French Championship, but he did a good qualification, and I think it's more difficult. But he waits and he look, because for the moment he waits for the next year.
Okay, good luck, Seb.
Thank you.
It'll be interesting to see him next year. Well, there it is for the very last time, number one world champion Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead. Well, there is Steve, of course, on the left. He'll be back. Not. That's Bill Philps' crew. There is the current world champion. Well, I must say now the outgoing world champion Ian. He's joined me back in the commentary box because Reeves, of course, is the new world champion.
Yeah, last time we're going to see that number one plate on Webster's bike. Well, a bit of a messy start there, but on board with Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, and once again they've quickly going backwards off the start line. It seems to be their trademark, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, backwards off the start line. He's still won how many 10 championships? I think he's obviously got a proven method.
Yeah, he just gets into the race slowly, does Steve, but of course they started from the second row of the grid, and that's the first time in, well, I can't even remember the last time Webbo was off the front row of the grid. I can't remember the last time he was off pole position.
Well, he's been out now he did the first couple of rounds of this World Championship and then basically sort of stood down really. He's come back here to Assen for the final time that we'll see him racing in competitive action, which has got, it's a legend really, and we're seeing the end of a legend.
Yeah, it is completely the end of an era, but what a great era. It's been great to have been part of it as well. But now, on board, and it's 91. It is the Frenchman Sebastian Delanoy and Nicolas Bidault that are in the lead of this race. As the rest of the pack stream through that long looping left-hand hairpin that leads out onto the back part of the circuit. Delanoy's away at the front. Tim and Tristan Reeves giving chase, and Webster's up to fourth position.
Well, Tim Reeves, of course, now the new world champion, and there is Bill Philp, 155. Bill, of course, from Berkshire Motorcycles in Slough. He'll be looking to get a good result, being chased at the moment by, I think that's 88, that's Tero Mannanen. Oh, on board here again with Gatt and Cox.
Yeah, Richard Gatt. He's got Mark Cox standing in this weekend because Paul Randall broke his arm at Castle Combe, and they've just gone ahead of Gary and Dan Knight. So Mark Cox, bit of a super sub passenger. He's been, he was with Steve Norbury at the last round, and yeah, doing a good job.
Yeah, good job of taking the outfit onto the rumble strips and bouncing our onboard cameras all over the place. I mean, we won't have any cameras left by the end of this year with these things. They won't stay off the rumble strips, will they? But, well, you say it's the Frenchman Delanoy that's out front, and he looks, well, by the way, his wife was speaking earlier. It seems that they'll be coming back next year. Webster's on the move.
Yeah, Webster up into third place past Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrant's classic manoeuvre into that tight chicane at the end of the lap. So now, bit of clear track in front of Steve Webster, and what's going on here? This is Ben Birchall and Roger Lovelock getting a bit squirrely there. Well, I don't know if anything happened there, but looked like Lovelock was heading off the track there, didn't it?
I think they were both heading off for an early cup of tea or something. But there's Webster, and well, that's looking a little bit further back. I'm trying to spot Birchall and Lovelock. Haven't seen them so far, but Tim Reeves second place with the man that he's taken the number 1 plate from, Steve Webster, right behind in third. So Andy Laidlow there in fourth. Laidlow, of course, professional sidecar racer with one more round to go. What's he going to do for the winter period?
Oh, I'm sure he'll buy a PlayStation game. Oh, and that's Roger Lovelock and Dorna Holloway out on the opening lap of this race. So they obviously did run off the circuit. Whether that was a problem or a mistake, I don't know. But Dorna flown all the way from America for this race, and to do one lap and then out of the race must be a complete disappointment for her.
Well, never mind. That's just the way things go in racing. You have good days and, of course, you have bad days. But a good day for this man at the moment. Delanoy out front.
Yeah, he's been a real revelation this weekend. He started in the World Championship in 2001, did 2 seasons with a completely uncompetitive machine, and was trundling around near the back of the grid all the time. He's been away, just got new machinery, new engines, been learning his craft in the French Championship. He's been French champion the last 2 years, getting a bit excited there. And he's just been a complete revelation, you know, second on the grid in this class of field. Amazing.
Well, with one more round to go, of course, that's at the Saxon Ring, the final round. And it'll be interesting to see if he does come to the Saxon Ring, and then even if he comes back next year, because we've got a lot of good talent now in sidecar racing, but it's beginning to bunch up, which is good to see. Webster has dominated for so long that Tim Reeves came along and has given him a bit of a run for his money in the early stages last year and, of course, the early part of this year. But Jörg Steinhausen, another one, the German, also looking very useful. We've got some good sidecar racers. I think next season's going to be even better than this season.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, sad to say, but I don't think we're going to miss Steve Webster, because the action is still going to be bunched up at the front. So that's a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, make racing a lot more exciting. And you can see Webster already beginning to close up on the new young champion, Tim Reeves. Well, these two have been locking wheels for, well, last season and this season, and, well, a little bit the season before as well. And Reeves has certainly been the hound dog, as they say, on the back of Webster throughout the season.
Yeah, it'd be nice for Steve to go out with a win at this event, wouldn't it? His final race of his career. He's made that decision as Tim Reeves goes up the inside of Delanoy. Clean move
done
there.
Yeah, nicely done from Tim Reeves. Webster's got a problem. He's talking to Woody. Now, is that a problem for them too? Something's going on there between them.
Yeah, they look to have just dropped off the pace a bit. I don't know. They're still there. But Paul Woodhead was really beaten up after that fall in the first qualifying session. He came out of the sidecar at about 100 miles an hour and actually overtook Steve Webster. And you see the cuts and bruises and bandages on his arms. And he was a brave boy to start the race, I think.
They're dropping back. There's no look at the gap now. Yes, they're I think they may well have even pulled out. There's something wrong there. But now it's left for the Brits versus the French at the moment. Reevesy has it. Delanoy second place. We've got a great scrap on here as the rest of the field trundle along behind. And when I say trundle, I don't mean it in an generous way. But Delanoy is having a look. You know, I think he and the Frenchman fancies the win here.
Yeah, he's not afraid of Tim Reeves, is he? Tim might have just wrapped up the championship, but Delanoy is certainly willing to stick his nose up the inside wherever he can. Made a bit of a mistake on that last corner, trying that overtaking manoeuvre, though, and has dropped back a couple of bike lengths.
Reevesy with his young brother Tristan in the chair. The Reeves brothers all conquering this year. They fought it, slugged it out at times, literally, with Jörg Steinhausen, the German, and Trevor Hopkinson, the Englishman, the passenger. But in the end, the result went to the young Brit, Tim Reeves, who only really came into World Sidecar racing, a couple of years ago with the M&M team.
Yeah, at the end of 2003, he was brought into the M&M team, had his first proper World Championship race, and was immediately on the pace. But yeah, last couple of seasons really has improved tremendously, and culminating in this World Championship win. Oh, disappointment there.
Yeah, he's out.
Webster and Woody in the pits.
Is it a problem for Woody or what?
Whatever it is, that's a sad end to that career. But the good news for Steve Webster, he set the fastest lap so far on that second lap, 102 miles an hour. So a new lap record around this Assen circuit. Wonder if Tim's going to beat it, or is Webster going to go out at least with a lap record?
Yep, well, we'll wait and see as the rest of the field come through, chasing each other. Martin Van Gil's amongst that group number 2, but they're queuing up here at the moment, which is getting quite normal in sidecar racing for the lower positions.
Yeah, from about 6th position down, it's really tight, and that's Richard Gatt and Mark Cox ahead of Martin and Tony Van Gils, the Dutch locals.
On board then with Gat Racing. Gat and Cox, the race cam, looking back at Tony and Martin Van Gils, the father and son pairing from, local lads, as you quite rightly say, Ian. They are Dutch, and Assen, of course, here is in Holland. Oh, look at that. You get an idea of what the passenger has to do. I mean, Paul Woodhead did explain exactly what they have to do. And Tony Van Gils and Martin having a look up the inside of Gat. Have they made it stick? I think they have. Yeah, they've made it stick, that's for sure. That's the overtaking move, the replay from the outside camera, and there it is, clean as a whistle. Tim and Tristan Reeves out front, the new world champions. Are they going to change that to 1 next year or keep the 77? I wonder.
Well, I think Tim's got ideas of keeping the 77, you know. I think he thinks if Valentino Rossi can have number 41, Tim can have number 77.
Right, why not?
Well, Delanoy there, number 91, Nicholas Biddle, the passenger for this 2005 season. And I just can't get over how fantastic Delanoy's been on his return to the World Championship. But, well, he's certainly fired up, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, he's just testing that back tyre to see if it's just at the right temperature, I think. Keeps doing that. He could find himself on the grass or in the kitty litter, which is not where you want to be with a sidecar.
No, and Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance down there in third position at the moment, but a little way behind these leading two, and I'm quite surprised about that. I thought Andy would have been able to give Delanoy a run for his money. We've got a red flag.
Upside down somebody.
Well, number 89, that's Scotsman Gordon Shand and his Irish passenger Stuart Graham. They've had a bit of an incident, and that outfit looks to be in a bit of a dangerous position, so I guess that's why they've red flagged it. Well, how many laps did we complete? Oh, let's see. Well, we didn't really see what happened, but that's been upside down. The main bodywork's come away from the machine with Gordon Shand still inside. Yep. I don't think too many problems there, but just precautionary. So the results at the end of part one. Tim and Tristan Reeves having a 4.9 second lead over Sebastian Delanoy, with Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance third, ahead of Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. Well, this means it's going to be a two-part race, and the aggregate times from both races will determine the overall winner. So, complicated already, Kenny.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's life. Back on the grid once again here at Assen. The sun's shining. You couldn't want for a better day's racing. It really is superb. There is Tim Reeves, and Ian's shot off down there with the microphone to speak to him.
Tim, restarted race. Any nerves for the second part?
No, fine. The clutch had a slight judder on the first start, so I shall steady away this time. Still got 6 laps to get in front, so it'll be steady away this time.
All right, good luck.
Cheers.
155, the outfit of Bill Philp from Berkshire Motorcycles in Slough. There he is. No, his head isn't inside the helmet. There he's standing up behind it. Well, Ian's running around the grid at the moment looking for somebody else to speak to. I'm sure he'll find somebody pretty soon. Andy Laidlow.
Andy, you're having a great scrap there. Now, what's the plan for part two?
Try and get a good start again and try and hang on to these two for longer. And there's only 6 laps to go, so it's I'll just try and hang on to them and see. It'd be good to get a podium here.
55, Mike Rocher and Alof Harney, his passenger. He's had a bit of a wretched time over the last few rounds. Well, Ian's legged it back up into the commentary sound. Right, part two, I think, about to get underway, mate.
Yeah, 6 laps for this restarted race. And is Delanoy going to get away sharpish again? Oh, he's creeping.
Oh, that's got to be a full start for him.
Well, I thought it was a bit closer to the start of the first part of the race. Delanoy was a bit quick off the mark, but that one just looked a little bit obvious there, and I think we're going to end up seeing a penalty for Delanoy. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know.
No, he's got to have a penalty. That was clearly a jump start. If that wasn't a jump start, he's got friends in right places, that's all I can say. He's out front at the moment, that's for sure. He's gone like a whippet out front.
Yeah, with the grid positions being taken from the end of the first part, and it was Delanoy off on the grass. Well, he's like a whippet, he's heading for the grass as well.
It makes it, perhaps he's a part-time hare, he likes the grass. Who's that in second place? It's number 84, Mr. Laidlow.
And Delanoy's off the track again. Well, obviously those tyres not quite up to temperature yet, but the rest of them seem to be coping. Oh, just chopping the nose off of Laidlow, and it's all getting a bit fraught at the front. Tim Reeves there in third place. Well, it looks like he just got a nudge from Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. They're, of course, on the Hanny Racing LCR Suzuki. Adolf Hanny helping Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. Here's a replay to start. Well, that is just so blatant, isn't it?
Yeah, but did the light had the lights actually gone out? That's the question.
No, Delanoy was on the move before the lights went out there, so I expect we'll see Delanoy coming into pit lane for a drive-through. We should get that announced any time now. Number 88, Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen, the Finns, on that Tusmoda Suzuki. They're having a good ride, and of course, with Jorg Steinhausen being absent at the moment, Manninen has a chance to go second in the championship.
Reevesy having a look up the inside of Laidlow there. It's only a 6-lap race, so if he has to do a drive-through stop and start, it's gone.
Oh, we got 2 off, and that's Trevor Stafford and Andy Winkle on the number 95 machine. And number 92 is Philippe Labelle and Christian Chignou on that. Well, that's an interesting paint job there, isn't it?
Yeah, chucking gravel all over the track at the moment. And poor old Trev Stafford's beached, as they say. Bev, his missus, will be watching on from the pit area, thinking, oh, God, 91, you've got it, pal. There we go, drive through. Is it a drive through or stop?
No, that'll be a drive-through penalty, so he'll have to come into pit lane, slow down to 60 kilometres an hour, and then get out of pit lane as fast as possible and back into the race. But while he's already lost the lead to Tim and Tristan Reeves.
They were smoking up the tyre as they came through. He knows the outcome, so I think he's lost his heart with this one. He's just backing it off, saying, OK, guys, once I go through the pits and come out again, I'm probably going to be in last place. So.
Well, that seems like a strange decision for Delanoy. I'm not sure he really knows what's going on by looking at that body language, because the way he was going in the first part of the race, just chopping the nose off of Richard Gatt there. He could have led this race round to the pit lane and probably only lost 6 or 7 places. So
he's obviously used to driving on the Périphérique in Paris.
On board with Richard Gatt, he's just got past Delanoy. And everybody else making their way past the Frenchman as well.
Gary Knight that's directly behind. No, it's not. It's Delanoy directly behind him.
Delanoy with Gary Knight chasing now, and I think Dan Morrissey and Rob Biggs were in there as well. But out front, Tim and Tristan Reeves, and this is where Trev Stafford was off the course. The slippery surface flag out there, lots of gravel on the track, and look at this, Tero Manninen putting Andy Laidlow under some pressure now.
Tom Hanks, I think, is out front of the. Yeah, he is. Tom Hanks is in second place at the moment on the number 11 outfit. Andy Laidlow on the 84 outfit in third place, should I say, in the 88 outfit of Teo Manninen and Pekka Koismanen, the 2 Finns behind them. So I don't think this race is somebody smoking tyres up at the back.
Laidlow really hammering that rear tyre on that TFR Suzuki. Now, this is going to get complicated because at the end of part 1, Laidlow had a lead of 6.3 seconds over Tom Hanks. When we add the times together, that's going to give us the overall result. So long as Andy Laidlow stays within sight of Tom Hanks, he's going to be second in this race at the moment. But we won't bother about that in a minute, can he?
Well, I'm not.
Let's just watch the race.
I'm sitting here with my calculator and I'm giving that one up straight away, because we'll wait to the end, I think, because that's the only way to work this one out, because the laps are ticking away. Tim and Tristan Reeves lead it from Tom Hanks in second place. Andy Laidlow, as you say, third man. Oh, here we go. This is the drive-through for the Frenchman.
Not really a drive-through, is it,
no,
Sebastian? You need to get your finger out and be through that pit lane. I think they've just realised what a mistake they've made there. Well, the passenger wasn't very happy with that one, was he?
No. There are words I can think of in French to describe exactly his attitude, but I won't.
No, probably best not to.
No,
Still, good to see Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs back at the sharp end of the World Sidecar Championship. We've really missed them at the start of this season.
Smoke it up, boys, smoke it up.
Well, there's going to be nothing left of that at the end of 6 laps, is there?
It's no way to treat a Yokohama tyre.
5th position, Richard Gatt and Mark Cox. Martin and Tony Van Gils in 6th. Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton down there in 8th position as Delanoy rejoins the race. Well, that's really all over for the Frenchman now, isn't it?
Can you lip read from there?
He's got a dark visor on, I couldn't quite see.
He's probably saying, we made a little mistake there, my friend.
I did not understand.
I did not understand the board that said 91. In any language, it means the same thing. Oh, well, there you go. Such is life. As they say in France, c'est la vive.
Tim and Tristan Reeves still out front. Well, obviously, they had enough of an advantage over Delanoy at the start of this second part of the race. Now he's out of contention. Tim really doesn't have to finish in front of these two guys to win it, but Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs pushing hard. Wouldn't it be great for them to cross the line first in their second race back this year?
It's nice to see Tom back. We've missed him, and second race back, it's a new outfit for him, so he's doing remarkably well to be where he is, and he's staying with Tim and Tristan, the Reeves brothers, the new world champions. So with Hanks, he comes back, and hopefully Tom will get a deal together for next year, and that's going to add to the depth in the grid once again. So I'm looking forward to 2006. That's, of course, if we're here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it already as well. And now we go back on board with Richard Gatt and Mark Cox. They were in 5th position, chasing Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen. And of course, Gatty been out the last couple of rounds while Paul Randall had broken his arm. And they've got a
Problem. Hand up. Yeah.
The rest of them streaming through. Oh, that's disappointment for Richard Gatt. He was looking forward to a good race here at Assen. Back up front, Tim and Tristan Reeves still holding that lead ahead of a hard-charging Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. Andy Laidlow still in 3rd position there, ahead of Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen. Now, you may be wondering why Pekka Koismanen has blue leathers on and his driver has the yellow and black leathers. Cast your mind back to Salzburg Ring. Koismanen fell out of the sidecar at over 160 miles an hour and discovered the reason that he was having trouble was his leathers were too baggy and the wind was getting behind them. You can see it there on Phil Biggs' leathers slightly, flapping up in the wind. The wind was getting behind them at 160 miles and making it like a parachute, and it just dragged him out the back of the sidecar.
There's lots of pictures going through my mind at the moment, but we won't go down that route. But obviously it needs to be like Lycra, doesn't it? Skin tight, and that's the answer. A little bit of aerodynamics there.
Yeah, not too skin tight. I've seen some of these riders.
Yes, that's true. Of course, you'll be making your comeback to sidecar racing at the last round of the Powerbike Tour at Brands Hatch later on in the year, and I understand maybe you're going to take a route out in the Sidecar Festival. Tim and Tristan Reeves out front. Tom Hanks behind in 2nd place, and so far Ian's gone very quiet over my remarks about Brands Hatch and the Sidecar Festival.
Yeah, I was trying to keep that one quiet, Kenny. But Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs beginning to close in a little bit on Tim and Tristan Reeves. We're in the closing stages now. I think we've got about 2.5 laps to go. Can Tom Hanks beat Tim and Tristan Reeves?
Yes, right, okay. Answers on a postcard, please, or we're taking bets now.
Well, we'll find out very shortly, won't we? But these two have dragged away 2 laps to go. Yep. Laidlow still in that scrap with Manninen, but is he within 6 seconds of Tom Hanks? This is going to be close at the end as to who gets 2nd and 3rd. On board with Bill Philp and Rick Long. Well, they're a bit down the order, and ahead of them is Andy Peach and Rick Lawrence on the L&W Racing LCR Suzuki. Well, they took a bit of a battering in practice, did Philp and Long, but
straight pass,
squeezing past Andy Peach. They took a bit of a battering in practice and a bit down on performance this weekend, I think, from what we'd normally expect from Bill Philp.
He's been having some interesting scraps in the British Series with the 2 Hegarty brothers, who don't actually race the FIM World Championship for their own reasons. I'm not sure what they are, but Bill's been having a great time with them.
Yeah, and of course with Ben Birchall and Tom Birchall.
Yeah,
now, looking back, there's Pekka Pivarenta squeezing past Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell there. Pivarenta, of course, won 3 races at the last round in Rijeka, but here at Assen, he's been completely off the pace.
Different story, different track, and at the moment the story is who's going to take the win here. Tim and Tristan Reeves, the new world champions. Out front, Tom Hanks. Oh, somebody's gone walkabouts.
It looks like Jan Beavers on the RCN bike. Well, they've had a bit of a mishap. They should know the way around here, the Dutch people. But obviously got that one wrong. But still, Tom Hanks desperately trying with Tim and Tristan just ahead of them. Sliding out of that left-hander and into this this tight right at the far end of the circuit.
Tristan having a quick look back there to see where they are and what's going on. because these they don't have any passenger to driver radio, so it's a question of, let's have a look at that again. Ooh,
just
look at
lifting those sidecar wheels over that bit of curb in there before they come into this long looping right. And here's the battle on for 5th position. Martin and Tony Van Gils ahead of Stuart Muldoon, but back at the front, well, it's still a couple of bike lengths there, isn't there? And coming in to start the final lap, Tom Hanks really needs to be a little bit closer if he's going to have anything to say about Tim winning this race. Of course, Tim having a huge advantage now that Delanoy's out on time, so I think whatever happens, Tim is going to be the winner. But it'd be nice for Tom to lead it across the line on the tarmac.
Yep, that's true. And say after an absence of the whole season almost by the last couple of rounds, he came back at the last round. This is the second outing. One more to go, of course, which is the final round at Saxon Ring at the end of this month. And we'll be there, and hopefully we're going to have some cracking racing. We will, of course, have our world champions there, and Tom Hanks will be there trying to, do what he's trying to do now, I think, and that's go past them.
Yeah, and the battle's still on for 3rd position behind them with Laidlow and Mannanen all together. Now Hanks is coming in quick to this left-hander. Well, Reeves is in the way there, so he's got to shut the throttle. Now it's the fast run up the far side of the circuit through these kinks. This is flat out through this right-left kink section before they come to the new chicane that's been added. Kind of spoilt Assen a little bit, but not too much, glad to say.
Hauling it into that right-hander and into the left-hander. Do you think Tom's got enough left to do this?
Well, there's only one real passing place left, and that's into the chicane at the very end of the lap.
Going in there full bore.
You can see how much sliding they're getting on these machines now in the final stages. The tyres knackers, he's looking up the inside into that left, couldn't quite make it there.
Lost a bit of ground with that move.
Yeah, maybe that's the decider, I don't know. Well, he's still on his tail, isn't he? So this is the long looping left, but smoking that tyre. Just needs to get grip, not be spinning that wheel. This is the fast run back towards the end of the lap. Flat out through these kinks at 140 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour. Building up to 160 before this left-hander. One more passing opportunity coming up into the chicane. I don't think he's close enough to do it.
No. If it is, it's going to be a suicide move, that's for sure. For maybe both of them. No, Tim has just
kept it nailed through that right. He hasn't given up, has he?
He's blocking Tim. Tim knows where he's going to try and know. There's the checkered flag. Then it is a win for Tim and Tristan Reeves. But Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs finishing second on the tarmac. Have they finished second on the results? There's Steve Webster enjoying the race.
Well, the results confirmed for part 2. Tim and Tristan Reeves ahead of Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. Andy Laidlaw and Patrick Farrance in 3rd. Now, they were just 5.1 seconds behind Hanks. So, how does that match up in the overall results when parts 1 and 2 were added together? Tim and Tristan Reeves were the overall winners, and it was Laidlaw and Farrance that took 2nd position ahead of Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs, with Taro Mannanen and Pekka Koismanen in 4th position. Stuart Muldoon came home 5th ahead of Martin and Tony Van Gils, Billy Gowross and Johnny Briggs in 7th, Gary and Dan Knight in 8th, and Ben and Tom Burchell, a good result in 9th position ahead of Pekka Pivarinta.
Well, the results are the results, and when you win the race, that's what you get. The kisses and the cuddles from the lovely girls with the short skirt. And the flowers, of course. National Anthem, Tim and Tristan Reeves, the new world champions for the FIM World Sidecar Championship 2005. Tom Hanks there, Andy Laidlaw on the other side. It's time for the champagne.
Tom Hanks, Phil Biggs, another podium, only your 2nd race back, but 2nd on the road, dropping back to 3rd. Did you know that?
No, I didn't realise that. I understood it as a carry on, start and carry on from where he was, so anyone who made up position was great. But I mean, that was as quick as we could have gone, so it wasn't like it was chasing time. But yeah, I mean, I could have kept that pace up for the whole race. We had a few problems in the first half, but we put them behind us in the second one and went for it. And we could have, if that's the sort of pace team was going to go for the race, we could have matched him all the way along. Bit gutted we got, well, you know, fair dues, he rode well in the first half, but we were ahead really in the first half. But that's how it goes, isn't it?
Phil, as I say, you've been out of it for a long time now. This is a really great way to come back and show everybody you're back with a vengeance.
Yeah, it's good. I've never really liked it around Assen, to be honest with you. I think a lot of sidecar lads love it here, but for some reason I just don't like it. And It's hard. It's been hard all weekend, but we've got the result. It's the first time we've finished. Well, it's the first time we've had a decent result here in about 4 or 5 years. So, made up, yeah.
All right, congratulations, guys. Nice to see you on the podium again.
Cheers, Ian.
Cheers, yeah.
Andy, Patrick, another podium position. It's turning into a really good year for you.
Yeah, fantastic. I would never have dreamed of this at the start of the year. To be on the podium at Assen as well at the World Superbikes is what a fantastic day. It's just been brilliant. I don't know, I look at the lap times and we're lapping as fast as Tim and them, so I'm really happy with the way things are going. It's just, what a brilliant year we're having, fantastic.
And Patrick, did you know second position was yours? Because you looked a bit confused when you came into pit lane.
On the rundown, I'm pretty sure it was ours. Andy didn't have a clue. Didn't know. I knew Delano had come through a drive-through for the jump start, so I jumped the start. So I knew he'd be penalised there, and I knew we had a big enough gap on Tim. But until we got back, I wasn't really sure, but I was pretty sure it was ours.
So what's the plan for tonight then?
A few beers, I think. Finish off a champagne.
Now, Andy, going to Sachsenring for the final round. Can you carry on this podium run?
Yeah, I feel really good. I'm getting more confident on the bike and everything every time I get on it. And yeah, I hope I get on the podium. Yeah, I'm going to be trying anyway, but it'd be good end of the season, it would.
All right, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Tim and Tristan and team owner Dave Roberts. Tim, another great victory for you in a two-part race.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, we went really hard in the first half and got a fair lead, and then just steady away in the second one. Had a bit of a problem with the clutch off the line, so we didn't want to chance it. So yeah, over the moon to have another win. It's good to have David. It's the first one he's seen, so we had to do it for him, didn't we? Really.
And Tristan, a bit disappointing with Webbo going out though, because I know you really wanted to beat him fair and square on the track.
Yeah, it would have been nice for him to finish. I see he put a good time in, but yeah, I think if he'd have been out there, we would have pushed a bit harder and maybe stayed with him. So yeah, it would have been a good race. Shame really, but still good to win. Yeah.
And Dave, well, it's been a topsy-turvy season for you, but the boys have done a great job for you and brought that World Championship home.
They've done an excellent job. It's a credit to them. It is, honestly. It's a credit to them. And I can't thank them enough.
Well, we can't thank you for the money and the help. Spot on.
Teamwork, mate.
Yeah, nice.
Teamwork.
Now, obviously, this was the goal at the start of the year. Did you really think it was a possibility?
Yes, I did, yeah, I did. I knew we could do it. Yeah.
So now the celebrations begin?
Well, they will do. I don't think I'm up to it just at the minute. I can't drink a lot of beer, so I'm not really up to it yet. But I'll get there. And there will be a big party, believe you me.
Enjoy.
Well, I hope we're all invited, Dave. Congratulations on winning the World Championship, and Tim and Tris, congratulations on another great victory.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thanks, Ian.
Jubilant Dave Roberts, the team owner, so he should be. They are the new champions, Tim and Tristan Reeves, 284 points. But look at second place, Steinhausen, Hopkinson, Mannanen and Kuisman. It's all yet to be decided at the final round. Paverington, Wall, Laidlaw and France, Galaros and Briggs, Knight and Knight, Van Gils and Van Gils, Pedder, Stedman, Morrissey and Biggs round out the top 10.
Well, it was an emotional farewell to Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead after the race. All the teams lined up in a celebration of Webbo and Woody retiring from the sport, and everybody wanted to have their picture taken with the great pair. What can you say about these two? Between them, they've won 13 World Championships. Steve Webster with 10, Paul Woodhead with 3, of course. Steve Webster, 62 World Sidecar Championship race wins to his credit.
Is he the greatest sidecar racer of all time or not?
Overall, with a number of championships and the race wins, he certainly is. And, you know, it's been great to see him through the past 25 years, coming up from club racer to the best guy in the sport.
But Aldolf Hanny has still got the best moustache of the lot. Paul Woodhead. It's got to be an emotional moment for these two. Goodbye to a true legend, Webbo.
In my mind, the pain, the passion, it's insane. In my mind, the pain, the passion, it's insane.